Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Azam Khan. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Prices of supermarket goods rose at their fastest pace in 9 years. Heavy fighting continues in Sudan, with more than 100 civilians killed. While COVID has dealt a heavy blow to the retail sector, the same cannot be said for supermarkets. A Consumer Council survey found that grocery prices outran inflation last year, while canned food even cost 30% more compared to 4 years ago. Macy Mock reports.
At the height of the fifth COVID wave early last year, supermarket shelves were emptied as people stocked up on groceries over fears of a lockdown. Coincidentally, the Consumer Council recorded the steepest price hike in supermarket goods since 2013. In an annual survey, the watchdog keeps track of prices for 260 items available at PARKnSHOP, Welcome, and Aeon. It found that overall prices have jumped by 2.1% in 2022. By comparison, inflation last year stood at 1.9%. The items are split into 54 subcategories. 3 of them registered double-digit increases, led by butter, which cost 15.4% more, followed by cheeses at 10.2%. Coming in third was cooking oil, which surged 10.1%. A half-liter bottle of Bertolli's Extra Light olive oil now costs $63.20, $11 or 22% more than a year ago. But there was relief as another staple, rice, only edged up 1.3%. Prices for canned food seemed went up by a mild 4.6% last year. But over a 4-year period, the watchdog observed a whopping increase of up to 39%.
Probably it's because of pandemic, people are stay at home more to cook their meal, and also they probably will think that they should store some of this canned food at home just in case we are locked down. And so whether this trend will go down, if look at the historical trend, I'm not that optimistic.
The council also found that supermarket prices for 80 items once dipped in 2021 before the discounts were followed by 2 consecutive years of markups. To save a few dollars, consumers are told to compare prices at different supermarkets when they pick up groceries, or check out the watchdog's online price watch website. Macy Mock, HKIBC.
The consumer watchdog also conducted lab analysis for more than 24 samples of goji berries on the market. While it verified the fruit's health benefits, certain samples were found with heavy metals and pesticides. Cheryl Yun has the story.
Goji berries have long existed in Chinese herbal medicine recipes, and in recent years, the fruit is labeled a superfood for its many health benefits. Manufacturers now market the food as a healthy snack, prompting the Consumer Council to put their claims to test. The watchdog sourced 27 samples from the market and came back with mixed results. It confirmed goji berries are a rich source of nutrients such as carotene, vitamin C, and minerals. But researchers also detected heavy metals. In particular, samples from Premier Food and Yupin King contained levels of lead which were close to the upper limit of local regulations. Long-term lead intake could stunt neurological and mental development among children or increase blood pressure for adults. 7 out of 10 samples also contained various pesticides. This sample was found with 7 types of the harmful substance.
If you got one pesticide mixed with another pesticide, we don't know the interaction. We don't know whether 1 + 1 = 2 or whether 1 + 1 = larger than 2.
But the council admitted unless the berries are consumed in kilos, trace amounts of harmful substances are unlikely to pose profound health risks. There is also a way to reduce the level of chemicals.
In order to reduce the pesticide on the surface of the goji berries, we recommend that you can soak them into cold boiling water.
But the Consumer Council reminds people not to soak them in water for too long, as soluble nutrients such as vitamin C could be lost. As a general tip, drain them after 15 to 20 minutes. Cheryl Yun, HKIBC.
After meeting local politicians yesterday, Beijing's point man on Hong Kong affairs, Xiaobao, turned his attention to the business and technology sectors on the second last day of his SAR visit. Macy Mock reports.
Xiaobao was back at government headquarters this morning, but instead of top officials, he met with the city's business leaders. They included Jonathan Choi, chairman of the Chinese General Chamber of Commerce, Chinese Manufacturers Association President Alan Shi, and his right-hand man Simon Wong were also present. Wong said after the meeting that the trade groups offered their assessments about Hong Kong's economic situation. Next stop for the top official was the stock exchange, where he was greeted by Financial Secretary Paul Chan. The Bourse's chairwoman, Laura Cha, was also on hand to give Xia a tour. Moving from the finance to high-tech industries, Xia made his way to the Science Park this afternoon. He met Sunny Chai and Albert Wong, the chairman and chief executive of the corporation which manages the sprawling campus. Innovation and Technology Minister Sun Dong, as well as Chief Executive John Lee, were also seen in the tour. Sun revealed that Xia visited a laboratory specializing in medical robots and met industry professionals. In return, Xia pledged Beijing's support in developing Hong Kong into a regional innovation hub. His final public appearance of the day was a visit to the University of Science and Technology, where he talked to students and teachers. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Overseas, fierce clashes between the Sudanese army and a powerful paramilitary group have continued for a third day. The violence between the two sides has spread across the country and killed more than 100 civilians so far. Sachin Katvi has more.
The fighting between the Sudanese army and paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, continued for a third day with no signs of easing anytime soon. More gunfire could be heard around Khartoum. Residents in the capital were told to take shelter, but nearly 100 civilians have already lost their lives. Some of them were believed to be struck by stray bullets, even as they remained indoors. Unconfirmed reports suggested that RSF fighters had taken control of the presidential palace. A video circulating online purported to show their members at the grounds of the facility. Military aircraft fired missiles at targets within the city and at the airport. Satellite images showed 2 parked aircraft were destroyed. The violence, which began over the weekend, stemmed from a power struggle between 2 army generals who joined hands in 2019 to topple then dictator Omar al-Bashir. The once allies have since disagreed on how the country should be run, and both are vying for the top spot. The conflict has caught the world's attention, even making it to the agenda of the Group of 7 foreign ministers meeting in Japan.
There's also a very strongly shared view about the need for Generals Burhan and Hamedi to ensure the protection of civilians and non-combatants, and also a strongly held view, again, across all of our partners on the need for an immediate ceasefire and a return to talks. Talks that were very promising in putting Sudan on the path to a full transition to civilian-led government.
Representatives of the Arab League held an emergency meeting in Cairo yesterday to call for a ceasefire and prevent further loss of lives. Egypt has offered to mediate to end the crisis. Sachin Katpi, HKIBC.
Families were reunited as Yemen's warring sides concluded an exchange of nearly 900 detainees, which took place over 3 days. There were emotional scenes in capital Sana'a amid the biggest prisoner swap in 3 years. The civil war between the Saudi-led coalition and their rivals, the Houthi rebels, backed by Iran, began in 2014. The United Nations described the conflict as the world's worst humanitarian crisis. The latest exchange is a result of ongoing peace talks between both sides and came after an unprecedented meeting between Saudi Arabia and Iran to re-establish diplomatic relations. Top diplomats from the Group of 7 nations sat down for more talks in Japan. While the 3-day meeting is seen as a curtain raiser to the leaders' summit next month, there were still crucial topics on the table. Raymond Young reports.
The relaxed atmosphere at Kuroisawa proved to be a stark contrast to the pressing matters discussed behind closed doors. Foreign ministers from the Group of 7 nations, France, the United States, Britain, Germany, Italy, Canada, as well as host Japan, gathered in the resort town known for its hot springs. While it was all smiles for the envoys, the 3-day meeting took place against the backdrop of the war in Ukraine, as well as tensions between China and Taiwan. Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi made his priorities clear when he addressed his counterparts.
International community is now the history starting point, so we will firmly reject any unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force or Russia's aggression against Ukraine, as well as its threat of use of nuclear weapons. By doing so, we will demonstrate to the world the G7's strong determination to uphold the international order-based law.
As the only G7 member in Asia, Japan will have a crucial role to play in this year's talks, especially on Beijing's growing assertiveness in the region. The members are also keen to hear from Germany's top diplomat, Annalena Baerbock, who just concluded a 3-day visit to China. For his part, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is expected to ramp up support for Ukraine, including the provision of military assistance. Raymond Yang, HKIBC.
Hong Kong stocks rallied alongside other Asian markets today, rising to a 6-week high. The Hang Seng Index surged 1.7%. The rally comes ahead of official government reports this week, which will likely confirm a strong first quarter for China's manufacturing sector. The Hang Seng Tech Index added 2.1%, while the Shanghai Composite Index advanced to 1.4%. Chinese liquor company ZJLD Group plans to raise as much as $811 million in initial public offering, according to filings. If confirmed, it would be the largest IPO in Hong Kong so far this year. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed up 343 points. Top 10 active stocks, Tracker Fund was up 32 cents, Meituan up $6.10. China Mobile was up $2.05, SMIC up 75 cents. Forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro is at 8.61, Canadian dollar at 5.87. And over in the UK markets, the London FTSE is currently up 18 points. On to the weather now. Sunny intervals with a few showers. Temperatures will range between 24 and 29 degrees. More clouds and rain going into midweek. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Monday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Azam Khan. Thanks for watching. Good night.